how can I take care of this? How can I really offer this service for my clients and then put it in systems that they can replicate? That's the best thing they can do right now.
Welcome to the Grant Wise Show. This podcast helps ordinary real estate agents build extraordinary companies. Let's grow in 3, 2. What's up, everybody? Grant Wise here. Welcome back to the Grant Wise Show. I'm excited for my guest today. I've got Marjorie Adam. She is a team leader of the Marjorie Adam Team at Nest Realty. She's recently won some incredible awards. She's won the Good Neighbor Award, which is something that she received from her peers. And then she also won the Charlottesville Family Favorite Award, voted on by her clients. She's a practitioner, she's a coach, she's a speaker, and she's also a host of a podcast called Real Estate Unscripted. Marjorie, thank you so much for spending some time with me on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Love it. Well, tell us all your story. How did you get to where you are today?
So I started in real estate with my mom, and actually ironically thought she was a realtor, and I thought I will never do this, right? So my parent does it. I used to watch her drive around with signs and thinking, gosh, she works all the time. I'll never do this. And I ended up going off to school. Mom and I had a kind of tumultuous past. We had a huge falling out, and then we had a kind of coming back together. She got sick. And I moved back home and took the real estate class really just to kind of be with her and thought, oh, this isn't so bad. And then realized I loved it. We lost her 3 years ago, unfortunately. She was the most amazing realtor ever made. People loved her. It has been years, and I still get calls from people that say, I love your mom and want to work with you. She was the connector of connectors. She really, people didn't work with her because they had to. They worked with her because they wanted to. And so I got to learn the true meaning of relationships and really taking care of people and loving on them. And she was the queen of that. So I got to learn from the best and became something I just love doing.
Yeah. And you've got a lot of stuff going on. Coach, speaker, podcast. You have a lot of it. It seems like, based on my short time that I've gotten to spend with you, that you really love contributing. You love giving back. You love helping people.
I think coaching not only helps, but makes you stay sharp on your game. You can't go and tell other people. I mean, I would have a hard time, and you can, I guess, but I would have a hard time learning from someone who's hasn't done it or isn't doing it or really can't show me the way. And I think, man, I got so lucky to be shown the way by so many great mentors and teachers and coaches and people in the lending and mortgage and other industries, that for realtors that are getting started or anyone in their businesses to have someone that says, you can do this and this is how you do it. And you just got to be accountable and frankly, pleasant is not bad. So it's a joy to be able to connect with lenders and realtors and really help in any way I can.
That's awesome. When you are coaching people today, it's a very interesting time in real estate.
Super fun. Yeah.
What's the thesis? What are we working on today?
So really, if you're someone that has been doing consultations, which to me are a big part of the process and the service that we offer to clients, never, I think, would you talk to a realtor in the past? I've done it 28 years, but whatever years, it would have been unheard of to not do some sort of listing presentation, right? So if you're going to go meet with a seller, whether you're even sort of winging it and crossing your fingers, there's at least, you've got to go through the process of here's where I came up with the price. And in theory, here's how I'm going to market your house, hopefully. And we got to go through the listing agreement. That was a kind of given, however, set process, right? But unfortunately, I think our industry, we were a very like Pop-Tart ding, I need to see this house and here I go. And there wasn't the consultation time with that buyer. And I think that's the biggest shift right now, or the fear, right, is kind of the news of the commission, rulings. Look, they were going to happen. This has been going on for a long time. I've been studying this. I have hundreds of pages of things I've read for more than a year. And so this wasn't a surprise. And I think so that people that were like, I can't believe this. It's like, look, we've had many shifts. We're going to have more shifts. I think proving value has always been the point. I think that there's a lot of fear and misconception in what these lawsuits really mean and what they mean to our business. And I think there's never been more important of a time to be the calm voice of, hey, it's okay. This is what's happening. Look, I think any of us know, right? Like you're not new. There's been different models people could have followed since I've been in real estate. You could have paid, I never want to talk commission because that sounds fixing, but I could have paid 500 chickens or one chicken or two chickens, right? Like sellers are going to offer what they're going to offer or not. And a big part of our job is to explain why the value is there. And so I think if we really think, okay, what value do I provide? What services do I provide that are meaningful? Not just like how fantastic I am and, I'll take a bad iPhone picture out of my car or whatever people say. I think this is the time to double down on that.
What are some ways that you feel like the agent today can communicate their value to the marketplace? I think that what I've seen is that this industry has spent so much time just talking about their sales or talking about their rank, talking about how they sold this home and this. And it's almost been this like mass justification for why they maybe don't deserve as much income. And I know people will get upset hearing me say that. I'm not saying that they don't deserve to be very well compensated. I'm saying that when all you talk about is how successful you are and how much money you make and all these things, it kind of sets you up for failure. How can we shift the narrative a little bit? How can an agent start to really articulate their value to the marketplace with everything that's going on?
So I think that one of the things that I will say is, so if you are a buyer and you're choosing to now meet with me and work with me, and you've done this before, and if you think in your head, man, it was super easy, right? I've done this before and it was super easy, then thank your realtor, right? And I think that the irony is my job as your realtor is to make it easy for you and that you think that was seamless, right? And I think that we've sort of made it so seamless that all the stuff that's happening back here in the background and the things that I purposefully shield you from, like, oh, by the way, the seller wasn't going to move out and they were totally going to take someone else's offer, all the things that we didn't share and the hard stops and points that we absorbed like psychologists that you never felt. So either we made it look too easy, so it seems like there isn't the value. So now you got to almost step backwards and say, like, here's the 100 things that we do, right? I'm going to do this, and you don't have to worry about this, and I'm going to take care of this. And I think it's a clear, not a fear tactic, but a clear thing of, like nothing's funnier to me than if a buyer says, well, I found the house. Or a seller says all they do is put signs in the yards. Like, come on. Like, seriously? Yes. Did you know, Grant, that all I do all day, I drive around, put signs in yards, and then I go home and I'm exhausted because the ground is hard. Like, I think it's time, if you're saying, what do we provide? I've got to be able to sit with you as a buyer or seller and say, listen, Grant, if you work with me, to purchase your home, these are the things we're going to offer. And this is the members of my team. And there's Jacques, who's going to make sure that we identify any issues that we could have or things that could be a real showstopper. This is how we're going to negotiate. Here's how you're going to win in a multiple offer situation. Here's every step we're going to take care of for you, from contract to closing and the walkthroughs and setting up vendors for you and helping you with your movers and how do we help you transfer your utilities, and you can use our moving truck, and like everything that is going to make this easier for you, right? That's not just because I'm fantastic and I've done this 60,000 times, right? So I think showing value is, what are the pain points, right? What are those steps? What are your fears that I can just absorb for you? How can I make this, look, you've got a job. Most of my clients have jobs and families and other things to do and still want to go work out. And they don't, this is not their life. This is my life, right? So my value is how I can offer services and people that are going to make this seamless, right? And that takes time and that takes energy, but that's not because I have the $1 million cubic zirconia. Those things are actually, I've got none of that. So if you could see I have one award on my wall, and it was my mom's Salesperson of the Year award that she won. And I have our picture and any some awards that she's won. I threw all that away because I think it's true when you say I'm $1 million producer, it sounds to the public like you make $1 million. So we've sort of elevated this feeling of luxury that we're really overcompensated. And let's be honest, sometimes there's a magic time, right? I could meet you and be like, wow, we showed you one house and sold it to you. But realistically, it can be 2 years of 32 contracts and you know what I mean? And all the rest. So I think it's, we got to kind of let some people peek behind the curtain in a non-frightening way to say, here's really what we do. right? This is every step, and this is how I'm going to get you through it. And man, this is how working with me can be really fun. We can make this, I mean, moving sucks, let's be honest. So how can we make this a process that you're like, man, that was awesome? That's the goal.
There's a lot that you said there, I think, that we could unpack. And so maybe don't take it from me, guys. I'm not a real estate agent. I'm just a marketing, advertising, and sales expert. But messaging and sales and those types of things, I am without question an expert on. And so when I look at what's going on in the industry, I think that number one, like we're talking about, there's a messaging problem. And the only thing, and I talk about this often, that realtors have to understand, the only people that you attract to your business when you talk about your production are other realtors that want to know what you did to achieve that level of production. This serves no purpose in the marketplace. It literally does not have at all the effect that you wish that it would.
Yeah, and I think it's the opposite, right? I think that there are people that think you're too busy, right? You're too busy. And also, I think we've got to be well-rounded. Like, because if I sell, look, and I mean this, I love nothing more than a first-time home buyer is joy. A downsizer that needs to be close to their family, that for a good reason, is joy. Like, we get to do such great things and impact people's lives. But I think when we pinpoint whether it's a price point or whatever it is, or we kind of think that's great because that's my niche. But I think what we don't realize is I get just as much joy out of my, $200,000 first time home buyer as joy in selling a $2 million house. And I think that knowing that someone doesn't say, oh, they don't do that. Like, there's nothing worse that could be worse. Someone saying, I didn't want to bother you with this, or you don't do that, or you're too busy based on what I saw you on social media. And it's like, ooh, that's not the message I want people to get.
100%. You're going down a great pathway there. It's like, what really ultimately matters are the stories. Like, if you want to truly attract more people to your business as a real estate professional, you want to be this megaphone, this fountain, like, of nonstop feel-good stories about how you actually help somebody navigate this process. Because that's what, if we go back to sales and persuasion, that's what actually moves people in conversations. It's not that you're talking about your production. That's a very just closed off, this is what I did. But in sharing the stories and helping the marketplace understand what these people maybe have overcome, there's three things in a sales conversation that we've got to identify. We've got to identify core motivation. We've got to identify the core challenge that somebody's experiencing in the transaction. And we've got to understand their core emotions. And once we understand those things, then we know how to move them through different sales processes, sales cycles, sales, whatever. And I love what you're saying. Is like, if you can just, like, it's more about the person on the other side of the transaction. I was talking to James Dwiggins and Keith Robinson. They are with Next Home, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So they just did they did a really great podcast right after the NAR. Yes, I listened to it that day.
They have this thing, it's Humans Over Houses. If you go to humansoverhouses.com, you can see just such a great example of a company that is putting the consumer out on the forefront of the transaction, which is certainly what you should be doing in your real estate business. And so I think these are fantastic points. If I'm a realtor that's working with you, right? If you're kind of coaching me through this, and I'm like, okay, well, I've been just saying that I was the $1 million producer of the month. What should I start saying now? Like, what would you encourage people to start doing to really go out there and show off everything that you do as a real estate agent?
So I think, to me, I'm really working on my social media, because I have to admit that I have found realtor social media to be like, well, and I think that, right, we all kind of, well, like, everyone posts this, so I got to post this, and it seems to be working because here it is. And so I've really had to, the last 6 or 8 months, I'm working with Phil Treadwell. He's fantastic. He's helping me with, like, hey girl, I need you to post this. And so I think, really, to me, it's, what does someone else care about? So do you care that I sold a house? No, nor should you. I kind of joke. So realtors, this is the kind of way I look at it. So if I go and buy a car, so Grant, so let's say I just went and bought an Audi. So you're my service person, and I say, Grant, you were fantastic. Thank you. And every month now you're going to send me a postcard that says I sold 7 Audis this month. And then next month you're going to say I sold 8 Audis this month. So I'm like, now, of course, for me, I'm like, I wonder how much does he make? Now, my brain, because I'm a high D, right? I'm like, well, there's 30 days in a month. 7 Audis doesn't sound like a lot. I wonder how much he makes per Audi. And then, like, you know what I'm saying? So Or I'm thinking, wow, that's a lot, but do I care? Right. So the message of I sold Audis. Now, what do I care about? Since I actually have one, it's used. I make that like caveat, but there's all this crap on my Audi that I don't know. There's buttons I'm scared to push, and there's this whole like it's. I'm sure cool that you wipe your finger on. I don't know what to do with it. So, but what you could do, right, is send me a video that says, "Hey, Marjorie, do you know that like because all of a sudden I'll get in the car and I'm like, oh, this is a very cool stripe of light. I wonder how it got here, right? So what could be valuable? So if you sold me my car, you could send me a monthly video on cool things that your car does that people like me just don't know. You could say, here's a free detailing for your car because I know you show houses and it gets to be a disaster. You could say, it's time for an oil change, right? So the way I equate that is what the message is. So for what can we do? So right now there's noise about the lawsuits. So without trying to say everybody should work with a realtor, because frankly, probably not everyone needs to. Everybody should pay X chickens. I need to reach you. This is what I do, and this is the chickens I charge. And I'd like to attract you to me. I don't need to convert the whole world, right? I don't need to tell everyone you should all always buy a house. Like the all or nothing messaging, the because I'm a cubic zirconia producer, all those things don't matter. But this is what's happening now. Or hey, a question I get asked all the time is why should I get pre-approved? Well, why can't I tell you about that? So I feel like we got to be a source or the source to the source. And that's kind of to me what I'm working on. And I think we all also need to do a better job of being like our authentic selves, right? I think we all think, well, they all wear a suit. I don't wear a suit, right? Or they all do it this way. And it's like, yeah. So I think the big thing is coming into this is who I am and how I speak and how I'm going to help you and what I love. And if that resonates with you and my kind of service is what you're looking for, then I'm your gal, right? But if it's not, that's okay. It really is, right?
That's fantastic advice. I said earlier, the industry has a messaging problem that also typically directly correlates to a positioning problem, like how you're positioning yourself in the marketplace. And we're all really kind of living the hero's two journeys. We all set out on the journey of achievement, which is maybe I want to buy a house or I want to sell a house. And then we go through the journey of transformation. I experience some challenge in the process of buying or selling a home. And then lo and behold, typically in the story, a guide appears. Well, the realtor is the guide. I think if you all just spend your time being the guide in the marketplace, you are going to find that this thing is going to naturally work itself out because people will pay for value. And if you can be there to give somebody the solutions maybe that they need whenever they're going through the process, I just don't believe you're going to have anything to worry about. Now, do I have a crystal ball? No. Do I know how all of this stuff is going to shake out? Nobody does until it actually starts to shake itself out. But let's just say that this we're recording this episode right at the end of March. I don't know when it's going to come out, but let's just say that the law has passed. Right now, we might be able to start figuring out like how this thing is really ultimately going to shake out. But regardless of that, if you can spend time just trying to add value to people, trying to help them navigate the process, which is your job, I think you're going to find that there will always be a place for somebody like you in the marketplace.
And I think right now, look, it's going to happen. So I think that there are people like, oh, yeah. So it was going to happen 10 months ago. It's definitely happening now. The world is changing. So we don't have to like go hide under a blanket, right? We don't have to angrily get on social media and say, who moved my cheese, basically, right? Like, I think the reality is, for the people who find value in the services I provide, that I will continue to have value. For the people who didn't before, won't now. And again, it's a free open marketplace, right? I just think though, to continue to want to obviously earn as much as I can, I have to provide clearer, deeper value. And that's not going to change. And so to me, how can you have fun with it? Like to anyone that's listening, I'm thinking, what else can I do now? Some of the ideas are a little bananas, and that's okay. Like I want to party at closing. If I had my way, I'd have a confetti cannon, but the attorney's not going to let me do that. Like, how can I really have fun with this for you? How can I make this the celebration it's supposed to be? Like, I think there are ways that we can make it not a clown. I'm not trying to be right. I'm not going to put on a clown suit. I don't mean like bananas crazy that way, but man, this is an experience that should be something that someone's like, my goal is you buy from me, and you're like, oh, you got to work with her, right? Like, how do we make that happen? Right? You've got to work with her. Not only does she know her stuff, but man, it was awesome, right? I want to go do it again, right? Versus I'll never do that again. That's kind of the goal.
Well, as somebody that has recently won the Family Favorite Award and the Good Neighbor Award, I have all the faith in the world that, if somebody's going to figure it out, it's going to be you.
Thank you.
This has been, I think, a really great conversation. And I'm all about like, okay, well, how do we take action on this? How do we take this and start applying it? So if somebody's listening to this and they're like, the entire purpose of the podcast is to help somebody understand how to go from ordinary to extraordinary. What are my first steps? Like, how do I start to really act based on the advice I've been given today to really build towards extraordinary, knowing that even if this lawsuit is, it goes through like it's supposed to, I want to be in real estate. I want to make my living in real estate. What do I do?
So to me, tactically, which I love a tactic, I think feel good's great, but then I don't want to leave and go, I don't know what to do. If I'm coaching you, or if you're sitting with me right now, I would literally take my processes from the time someone either calls me or I get an email and they reach their hand out and say, I would like to talk to you about selling my home, or I would like to talk to you about buying my home. And what does that process look like methodically with care to someone else? So how do I stand out and have them feel taken care of from that first phone call to the consultation, which is not all about me, right? Talk less, that gets clear that I deeply am here to find that for you or to get you the most for your home, right? How do I take you through this process? I would map it all out, right? And then start to put it together so that I had a clear first meeting, first phone call, contract to close, listing period, that all of my systems were set, that I had a process that wasn't like genius once, but that every client could do it. And then from the lens of every time that there is a pitfall or something, a tense moment, then I'm really fixing that. How do I stand out in those, oh gosh, I'm about to do an inspection and I'm scared? Well, then I can send you a video and say, hey, Grant, they're going to find something. It's okay, right? We're here for you. We're going to get you out or we're going to keep you in, right? How can I make you go, yeah, that's okay. So I think if they can take that time, sit in your office or outside, it's a nice day, and say, okay, how can I take care of this? How can I really offer this service for my clients? And then put it in systems that they can replicate. That's the best thing they can do right now.
That's such good advice. I appreciate you for giving it. And I know that everybody listening to this does. If you're listening to Grant Wise Show today, I want you to make sure you also go find Marjorie's show, Real Estate Unscripted. Can you tell us a little bit about the show before we sign off so we get some people maybe to come check you out?
Yeah, I'm loving it. So I am podcasting. It's for really everybody, but lenders and realtors. And we have different industry experts. You're going to be on there soon. We've had like Renee Rodriguez has come, who I love. I get to mastermind with him. I talked to realtors across the country, lenders, and then look, we've talked to counselors and we've talked to people to take care of your health. So it's really holistic on, mindset and tactics, and how can we, go through these changes and just be the best realtors, lenders, or frankly, people we can be. So it's really meant to be something that someone can tune into and say, gosh, I feel better and I got a great tactic.
I love it. Well, I'm definitely going to make sure to check it out. I'm excited to be a guest, and I'm appreciative that you were here today because this was a wonderful conversation, and I've really enjoyed the last several times I've gotten to connect with you. So thank you again for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
Love it. Thank you all for continuing to listen to the Grant Wise Show. I know that we got a lot of value out of today's episode. Make sure you leave a review with one of your top takeaways. Send me a DM on Instagram if you got other questions. Let's keep the conversation going. And I'll see you on the next episode. Stay wise. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Grant Wise Show. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel, leave us a review, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks.